This week, we're going to take a deep dive into my training for the past 7 days. But before we do it, let's take a look at a run I did earlier in the week. You see, it's sunny approximately 1 or 2 days for the entire winter in Portland, and last Wednesday was one of those days, so let's roll the tape. Hello everyone, welcome to Running Otaku. I am the Running Otaku, and this is the Boston Marathon SUB-3 Journey episode 16, Red Flag. Why is it a red flag? Well, somewhere during the course of last week I had a bad workout, and that was the red flag. I'll get into that in a moment. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. The channel continues to grow. I think we got another 10 or so subscribers over the last week, which is great. I completed the 8th week of the training cycle. There is 10 weeks to go, and I think I'm on track. So after 8 weeks of training on this training plan, I've literally done over 100 different intervals, as short as 15 seconds and as long as 5 minutes or so. And virtually every one of those 100 over the course of this entire training program, I've nailed. Either I've gotten a little bit faster than prescribed or right on pace. The first exception to that, which caused me some concern, actually was my run on February the 1st here. If we go into it, this was a workout which was 6 by 3 minutes at my critical velocity pace. Let's see if we can go into the workout here. You can see I was supposed to run right around 6 minutes 5 seconds per mile. And as you can see, the first one here was 6:10, which was a little slow, but no big deal. The second 3-minute one was 6 minutes. So, 5 seconds fast, but basically okay. Third one, 2 seconds fast, but still fine. The fourth one, 6:03, still doing well, right on pace. Everything seems to be going well. Fifth one, 6:02, so basically on pace again. Then for some reason, out of the blue, I just blew this last one. I ran 6:26, and this felt like a 10 out of 10 effort for me. And my wattage 275, I couldn't sustain much power there. I have no idea what happened. I was feeling a little bit tired, but like I said, after over 100 intervals, this is the first one that instead of running 6:05, I ran 6:26. It's only 21 seconds, you might say, what's the big deal? But for me, it was a red flag because I've never struggled to hit anything, and this one I really struggled. I had to work hard and still was 21 seconds over. So it caused some concern. The second thing that caused concern was the night before, my resting heart rate, which is normally around 50, 51, was 55. And usually that means one of two things. Either I'm getting sick, which I wasn't, or it's a sign, well, it could be three things. It could be a sign that my watch is off, getting my heart rate, but I don't think that was it. And the third thing is that I'm just suffering from some fatigue and my body needs to slow down. And I think that was it. So I've made kind of doubly sure on the days after that to really slow down. So that easy pace, which doesn't really matter so much, instead of like 2.5 minutes slower than my 5K time, I just did like 3 minutes slower. And everything worked out okay. My pulse rate gradually came down, so a couple nights later it was 52, which is almost normal for me. And that long run I had on Sunday went just fine. So it was an early warning flag that I took note of, and very quickly kind of readjusted my pacing and my sleeping to make sure that I could kind of get back on track, and it seems to have worked. Okay, so in the YouTube channel, a number of you have been writing and asking questions about my marathon training plan. So I thought what I'd do is actually take a look at last week in a little bit of detail to give you a flavor of exactly what a typical week looks like for me. So this goes through Monday, January 28th, through Sunday, February 3rd. And as you can see, Monday, easy day, only 31 minutes of running. That's 3.8 miles, so that's approximately 6 kilometers or so. And my easy days are quite easy, and that's the key. I'm 8 weeks into this training program, and I've run every day, oftentimes 9 or 10 times a week with my doubles. So I've never been able to sustain that kind of consistency. And the reason is I've always taken my easy days too hard. Right? And it's I think a lot of us do this, right? When you upload to Strava, you might be worried you don't want to show yourself as running too slowly, or you just feel good and you say, well, why should I run at this pace when I can easily run a little bit faster? Isn't that better for me? And in the very short term, maybe, but in the medium to long term, it's not. And so the secret for the consistency is making sure your easy days are easy. And so how easy is easy? Well, in terms of miles, I'm running 1.5 minutes per mile slower than my marathon pace. And in terms of kilometers, that's about 1 kilometer a minute slower. So really quite slow. And that's the fastest of my easy pace. I might even be another 30 or 40 seconds slower than that. It really doesn't matter. So those are the easy days, but they shouldn't be sloppy days, right? You should still consider your form and your cadence. Maybe work on your arm carriage, or pick some aspect of your form that you can work on, even if you're running at slow pace. Because you don't want to be sloppy, but you do want to recover. So anyways, that was Monday. And then Tuesday was the first of 3 doubles. So in the morning here, let's see, it was, as you can see, 6 times 60-second hill repeats at my 3K race effort with 2-minute jog downhill recovery. 6 times 20 seconds at my 800-meter race effort, and this is on flat ground with a 40-second jog. And altogether, it was a 75-minute run. So as you can see, all of my workouts are prescribed in terms of minutes, and the intensity is usually some sort of effort based on a 3K pace or 8K or 10K pace. And the result was a little over 8 miles, which is probably 12 kilometers or so. I'll put the correct number here, whatever it's supposed to be. And the pace overall was quite slow. Let's see if I close this out. And then that evening, I did a 3.2 mile run, so almost exactly 5 kilometers at that easy pace. And then Wednesday, another easy day, only 4.3 miles. Let's see if I look in here. Yeah, so just supposed to be a 40-minute run, and pace no faster than 5K plus 2.5 minutes per mile, or probably 1.5 to 2 minutes per kilometer or something like that. So really easy and short. And then Thursday was a 1-hour run. And it was an easy run again at that easy pace. But in the middle of it, I did 12 times 20-second striders at my 3K to mile pace. And these get thrown into the workouts a few times a week. They're really good for working on form and on power. When I look at my efficiency in terms of how fast I can run given a certain wattage, that efficiency is much, much better when I'm either running uphill or sprinting. And so when you practice these kinds of uphill or sprinting runs, what we're trying to do, in essence, biomechanically, is really understand and work at that efficiency level. And hopefully some of that will translate into my slower, like my marathon pace running, where if I can achieve anywhere near that efficiency, I'm just going to get free time. Okay, so let's see. So that was Thursday. And then Friday is my second hard workout. So I do 3 hard workouts a week, Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. And the Friday workout was quite difficult. So it was 6 times 3 minutes at my critical velocity pace. That's what CV is. And that's basically the maximum pace you can sustain for half an hour. So for me, that's almost exactly my 8K pace. So 6 of those at 3 minutes each with just a 1-minute recovery. Keeps kind of the heart rate up and keeps that intensity up. And then right into 6 by 30-second hill repeats. This is pretty tough, right? At 800-meter race pace effort. So it's not actually that pace because you're running much slower up the hill, but it's that effort. And then 6 times 15 seconds at that 800 meter effort on the flats. And then warm up and cool down. And as you can see, the whole thing came out to 1 hour and 21 minutes, which was 10.6 miles, which I think is around 17 kilometers, but I'll put the right answer right there. Okay, so that was the first run of Friday the 1st, and then again a 20-minute double. So later that evening, ran for 20 minutes at a very easy pace, kind of flush out the legs a little bit. Saturday was another easy run, just 30 minutes, 3.5 miles. So that is just about, probably just under 6 kilometers. And then Sunday is my long run day. And these are reversed. I actually did the 17.5 mile run first. Let's see if I can click that. So it was prescribed as 2 hours and 20-minute run on hilly terrain at a moderate to easy pace. So slower than my marathon pace, but maybe, I don't know, 20 seconds per mile slower, or in terms of kilometers, 20 seconds per mile. So maybe something like 12, 13 seconds per kilometer slower than my marathon pace. So not too difficult. And this felt easy for me. I've been doing a number of these long runs, and now 2 hours, 15 minutes really doesn't bother me much at all. I'm practicing my nutrition, taking the gels, drinking water, and it feels very, very comfortable. So that's great. And then I had later that evening another 20-minute run, which came out to 2.4 miles, or what is that? That's probably about 3.5 K or so. And then altogether that was 63.6 miles. So just a smidge over 100 kilometers, maybe 101 or 2, and 8 hours and 47 minutes of running. So last night we got our first snowfall of the year, about probably 1/2 inch, maybe 1.5 centimeters, something like that. Not much at all, but enough to celebrate. So I went with my wife and daughter to the park, and we played in the snow, brought our dog, all that good stuff. But the problem was, today was my first of 3 marathon pace tempo runs, and all 3 are supposed to be done on undulating terrain. And I had the perfect course picked out for that, but there was snow and ice on it, so I couldn't do it on that desired course. So instead I picked where I run a lot of my kind of interval training runs. It's almost completely flat, a couple of small hills in there, but nothing of note. And did that workout and nailed it. I was so happy. I wanted to run at my marathon goal pace, which I'm actually training for 2:55 to give myself a 5-minute buffer for Boston, because it can be so iffy with the weather. And that translates into 6 minutes and 41 seconds per mile, or that per kilometer. And I ended up running 8 seconds per mile faster, which I believe is about 12 to 13 seconds per kilometer faster. And I felt like, on an effort scale, 10 being all out, I felt 7.5, 8, something like that. So really comfortable. That would have probably equated to somewhere close to, a 2:51 marathon pace. No, I don't think I could have held that for 2 hours and 51 minutes, but I think definitely I could have held that for at least 1 hour and 25, which is what I think my half marathon pace would be right about now if I were to go out and race, maybe 1:24 if I'm feeling good. So it's a really good check. In a couple of weeks, I think I have the same tempo run, but instead of 7 miles, it's going to be 8 miles, which is, I'll have to put that up here again. But 8 miles is probably around 12 or 13 kilometers. And that will be over hilly terrain as long as it's not snow and ice. And if I can sustain a 3-hour pace marathon over that hilly terrain, I'm going to be pretty happy. So we'll see in a couple of weeks. Okay, so that's the week that was. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, please click the like button. If you really like what you saw, then go ahead and click subscribe and hit the little bell right next to it. That way, you'll be instantly notified every time I upload a new video, which will be really handy because that will make it easy for you to follow me on my journey as I try and set a lifetime PR and go sub-3 at the Boston Marathon on April 15th. So thanks for tuning in, and we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.